You're about to see everything exposed. Hollywood has always been a glamorous facade, but behind the scenes there are a lot of dark secrets that have been kept hidden for years. Recently, a few brave actors are starting to speak out and expose the ugly side of the industry. What I'm about to share with you today will leave you speechless. But before I go on with the video, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell for more discussions like this.
I was sexually assaulted by Adam Bennett, who was the head of the motion picture department at William Morris Endeavor. You're talking about a very, very powerful man who has access to studio heads. What they do affects every part of the business, from producers, writers, actors. They own finance companies, the whole thing.
And did you know him before the party?
And I did not know him. I heard of him. We had never, ever even had a conversation. He looked me in my eyes and he was sticking his tongue out overtly sexually to me. I mean, it was no mistake that this was a sexual type tongue move. And I'm thinking it's a joke. I'm thinking, is this how this guy breaks the ice? I don't understand what this is. I reached my hand out and he takes his right hand and under mine and immediately grabs my genitals and I'm jumping back like, hey, whoa. And he jumps back and he still does this tongue stuff and he's making weird noises and then he comes back again and grabs me again. And I slap his hand away, push him back more forcefully. And I'm like, what are you doing?
This happened back in 2016, and although Terry is a former NFL player and has a strong physique, Adam knew he had the upper hand in this situation. You see, this was during the height of his career, making the situation even more shocking. Despite his size and status, Terry felt like he couldn't fight back without risking his career or being labeled an aggressor. This exposes a chilling reality in Hollywood. The power dynamics at play here were so strong, Terry didn't feel he could defend himself in that moment. Adam also happened to be an agent of multiple actors at the time. We're talking about people like Adam Sandler, Diane Keaton, Eddie Murphy, Kevin James, Rob Lowe, Sean Levy, Steve Martin, Sylvester Stallone, and Vince Vaughn. That's why his decision to speak out is nothing but courageous, especially since the industry runs on silence in the face of abuse. But that's not all. There's another shocking fact that he reveals next.
So she's witnessing the entire thing.
She's witnessing the whole thing. And we're just not, I can't even begin to describe to you how bizarre this is. It's so bizarre. I wake up every morning like, is this a bad dream? Does this really happen?
That's what makes it even more disgusting. It all happened in front of his wife. Terry didn't let the story end here though, because he filed a lawsuit against WME, which is the agency that Adam works at, and it was settled out of court. That agent was initially suspended without pay for a month, then was demoted from his department head position, eventually announced his resignation from the agency. Fast forward a few years, and Adam's ex-wife also sued him for assault. I know this is an active legal matter here, and everything I say is alleged, and the thing is, I see a pattern here. This whole incident shows that power imbalance in Hollywood can affect anyone, and speaking up is a vital part of changing the culture of silence and complicity in the industry. Next up, we have an ex-SNL host talk about his own experience in the industry.
And I'll tell you what, I'll let you in on a little something, but I'm not going to drop names.
Okay.
But I'll never forget, these are black producers, a guy named Kevin Brown and Andre Brown, and he was later on 30 Rock, but they would come to us and they would tell us about vanity and losing your mind in Hollywood and be careful. And they came back from Hollywood to try and expand us. And they sat us down and they're like, you ain't gonna believe what we saw. I'm like, what'd you see? And they said, we saw so-and-so, huge name, so-and-so, huge name, and so-and-so, big name back in the day, chicken hawking at a party. And I went, what? See, you're white. I said, what's chicken hawking? Everyone he's white. He don't know chicken. I said, what is chicken hawking? That's when you hanging out with boys that are transvestites. I went, what? What? See, now you're telling stories.
Yeah.
But I never forgot that. 3 years later, this name, ping.
Busted chicken hawking.
That one's sick. This one, bing. Busted.
Yeah.
That's right, for all the glitz and glamour, Hollywood has a much darker side that mostly goes unnoticed beneath the surface. Behind the red carpets, award shows, and blockbuster films, there are whispers of secret and shady activities that, if fully exposed, could rock the industry to its core. Over the past few years, we've seen glimpses of this darkness, whether it's the Harvey Weinstein scandal that brought the Me Too movement into the spotlight, or revelations about high-profile agents and producers abusing their power. But these are just the tip of the iceberg. Drop a like if you think this was Jim referring to P. Diddy. We're talking about a place where power is concentrated in the hands of just a few, and with that power comes the ability to cover up unspeakable acts. Rumors of exploitation, trafficking, and other criminal activities have circulated for decades. The truth is, if every skeleton in Hollywood's closet were to be revealed, many high-profile figures could find themselves behind bars. Watch how Jim expands on this exact point next.
Hollywood's a mafia. It's a big, dark mafia.
Yeah, it is.
And then what happens is, I remember one of them, it was like, the mobsters come, they're like, we understand, not mobsters like Italian,
Right.
whatever,
You're talking
whatever
about,
gang you want to
the
call
attorneys,
it, right? And they come along like, listen, you sign this, you do some movies there, we'll put this all on the table, we got enough money to make this go away. Ping, it's gone. No one ever brings it up. No one ever brings it up with this person.
That's crazy.
And there's 2 or 3 of them. Huge. But I guess what I'm saying is by the time I started doing Sound It Live and Half Baked, blah, blah, and TV thing, Tim Allen, all this shit, that's when I really saw how dark and so it was dark. I get creeped out. I get scared to death.
That is spot on. Hollywood is built on opportunity and money, which is why so many of its dark secrets stayed buried. Careers and fortunes are made or broken on connections, deals, and influence. Because of this, those in positions of authority have the leverage to cover up misconduct, abuse, and scandals. You see, the bigwigs in the industry have access to vast networks of resources, from high-powered attorneys to public relations teams who are experts at managing crisis. Many actors, especially those just starting out, feel immense pressure to stay silent about the industry's darker aspects. Speaking out could mean losing opportunities or being blacklisted. It's not just about talent, it's about maintaining favor with the right people. I think even after a lot of stories coming out over the past few years, the real question is, how much more is hidden? Next, we have legendary actress and comedian Roseanne Barr sharing her account of dark things she heard about.
For us from the outside watching in, and you hear stories like Weinstein, or you hear stories of Giffen, you hear stories about these guys, how dark was it back in the days in Hollywood, and how much of this was happening? How'd you get past it?
And none of that happened to me, but I knew people that it did happen to. And because I was working to help kids who were, in slavery and from drugs and sex and stuff in Hollywood, they had run away to be stars, and that's what happened to them. They'd get mixed up like that and be used. I heard their stories, and I knew it was common, and I knew that it's just a den of iniquity. And I heard from other people that, everybody knew somebody who had to do that kind of deal. But especially it seemed to be in the movies and the music.
The infamous casting couch in Hollywood isn't just a myth, it's a well-known open secret, and countless stories have surfaced over the years. Exposing how deep this toxic dynamic goes in the industry, one major example of that is Brian Peck, who was a longtime Hollywood actor and acting coach. He worked with child stars and was convicted of child molestation in 2004. He had worked on multiple projects for Nickelodeon and Disney, which naturally involved child actors. Elijah Wood has also commented on the child abuse problem in Hollywood, saying, quote, "Clearly something major was going on in Hollywood. It was all organized. There are a lot of vipers in this industry, people who only have their own interest in mind," adding, "If you're innocent, you have very little knowledge of the world and you want to succeed. And what upsets me about these situations is that the victims can't speak as loudly as the people in power." The thing is, the power dynamics in the industry create a perfect storm where predators can thrive, preying on the ambitions of actors and actresses who feel they have no choice but to comply to further their careers. It's an ugly truth that has left countless victims in its wake and exposed the darker side of an industry that tries to promote itself as glamorous and aspirational. But what are your thoughts on this? Let's get the conversation rolling in the comments down below. And if you want your friends to be as informed as you, make sure they share this video with them.